Now for the real meat of the episode, Andrew. We're going to do, so last year we did a football draft of Disney characters.
Disney animated characters.
Today we're going to do an MCU draft, Marvel characters. Although I did use mostly comic photos just because I think they're cooler. But we're going to draft we're each going to draft a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, a linebacker, and a defensive back. Andrew set up the coin flip to make me go first because I accused him of lying on all the other coin flips.
Listen, on the coin flips, I simply ask Siri, heads or tails.
He says, Siri, please say tails, because I always pick heads.
Absolutely.
And she says tails. Yeah. So this time I called him out, and suddenly I get first pick. So, of course, let's hear some of your picks too in the comments. Who you'd be drafting at some of these positions. We did not go in order of position. We went in order of just like any other draft. So, but I did start out with the quarterback, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. Okay, football field's only 100 yards long, right? So I don't need, Thanos throwing a football. Doesn't need to happen. Captain America's a natural leader. Lays his life down on the grenade for the team. You know what I'm saying? And the clear and obvious first choice in the entire MCU as quarterback. Can't beat that pick right there.
The consensus number one overall pick in the MCU draft.
Joe Burrow.
Steve Rogers.
Andrew Luck. Peyton Manning. I mean, get out of town.
It's a great pick. If I would have gotten the number one overall pick, I would have picked Captain America as well.
Couldn't have blamed you. Andrew, your number 2 pick.
So number 2 pick, it seems like this position group has been getting more and more valuable, especially this offseason. So I went with a guy that's got sticky hands, you would say. Spider-Man at wide receiver.
Ooh, the sticky hands. And I picked your favorite moment, Spider-Man moment, Andrew, for the picture here. Hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone. Fantastic picture. But yeah, Spider-Man, he's very agile. He's got speed. He can catch everything, and he's an absolute weapon down the field. So I got Spider-Man as my wideout.
Great pick. I didn't even think about the sticky hands. All I could think about was him slinging some webs on the, overthrown balls and stuff like that. So yeah, great call on Spider-Man. That was a really good pick. And a lot of people's favorite Marvel character. So I went running back next because my first thought was, fastest man alive in the Marvel universe, right? Quicksilver. Obvious reasons, running back, the MCU's version of the Flash, common sense. Easy pick in the running back position. Andrew, who was your number 3 pick?
Oh, listen, Tom Brady's on my side. Hey, everyone.
All right, you cover the comments for me while I'm playing with pictures, okay?
Tom Brady
says, hey, everyone. I love it.
So yeah, Quicksilver, good pick. You picked definitely the speed back category rather than a bruisers. But I mean, might as well pick one of the fastest guys, if not the fastest guy in the MCU, in Quicksilver. My 4th pick, I went with a defensive captain, a guy that is not only one of the smartest in the MCU, a guy that can manipulate the defense and manipulate what offenses see. Dr. Strange at linebacker. So you might have Steve Rogers back there surveying a defense, but I have Dr. Strange, who is going to make it look like there's not 11 defenders on the field. He's going to make it look like there are 1 million defenders on the field, or 1 million guys bearing down on Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers won't know where to go. Dr. Strange, the perfect guy directing my defense.
See, I was going to pick him an offensive line, especially based on this last movie with like a shield spell, because he could just, hold off at least long enough. He could hold anybody off at least long enough for the quarterback to do something. And I thought that was a unique use of him. Your use of confusing the offense was brilliant as well. I like that. Let's see here. My next pick 5. I went with defensive lineman. Did I put linebacker first?
You made him your linebacker, and
then I fixed it. I fixed it. And you thought I'd pick him for offensive line, but I said, hey, man, Hulk don't protect. Hulk smash. Okay, defensive lineman, the big mean green Hulk.
Good pick. Your own version of Aaron Donald there on the defensive line, and Matt agrees. Hulk for the defensive line. So
yeah.
stats Matt on that one. Me with the 6th pick here. I decided to go defensive line as well. I didn't go with the interior defensive lineman. I went with a guy that has more athleticism on the outside. And I went with Thor, the god of thunder, for my defensive lineman. So a guy that could bring down the hammer on the offensive lineman. He's got the athleticism to not only get the bend on the outside, but also do a quick rip on the inside. And you're not going to be able to get him or be able to do anything once Thor gets past that offensive line. So I'm expecting a good 15 to 20 sacks a season from Thor, the god of
15
thunder.
to 20 sacks a season. That hammer. I mean, when in doubt, let Mjolnir run. I went with my next pick. Defensive back. Got to have a guy that's agile. Got to have a guy that's quick. Maybe some really long arms if he wants to. Mr. Fantastic. The stretchiest of them all. Hilarious pick for defensive back. I mean, just absolutely priceless. I love this pick. Just to toot my own horn.
This one caught me off guard a little bit. I thought you would choose somebody else, but hey, you got the smartest, quote unquote, smartest man alive. So he's got great play recognition and those long arms, he can get his hand on any ball. So that's an interesting one. I rounded out my defense with the number 8 pick. Your defensive back is usually your last line of defense. And if we've seen over multiple instances in the MCU, including in Avengers Endgame, Iron Man as my defensive back. The last line of defense can cover the entire field. He's a guy that when times get tough, when the ball's thrown up with that last Hail Mary, who's going to save you? I am Iron Man.
A precision missile.
Absolutely.
Listen, missed opportunity for me not to have the music up and ready for Iron Man. That's on me. I blame me for that, but that's okay.
See, Matt says Falcon as defensive back. We'll get there.
Not bad. Flying is a good one. But man, who knows?
Hey, Iron Man can fly.
Iron Man can fly. Thank you, Andrew, for that point. I just kind of went, opposite of my defensive lineman here, and this is where we introduce a couple villains. I went with the Abomination on offensive line. Bigger than Hulk. Technically stronger than Hulk, and one of Hulk's arch enemies. Don't have to have them fight in my situation here, so it seems like a win for me. Abomination, offensive lineman.
Those practices on Brandon's practice field, iron sharpens iron. The Abomination versus Hulk, those guys are going to get after it. See, I went with the Mad Titan himself as my offensive line. We both went with villains on the offensive line. Thanos is my offensive line.
Hilarious. We both went with villains on the offensive line to protect the good guy.
Your offensive lineman needs to have mean, nasty traits, just like the Abomination and Thanos. But I think my offensive lineman tops yours as Thanos, the Mad Titan.
Love it. Up next for me, I went linebacker finally. You think a big, hard-hitting guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mean son of a bitch.
Absolutely.
Well, I picked one, except she's not big. She's not a guy, but she is one of the strongest mother effers in the MCU. Captain Marvel, home run of a pick at linebacker. I mean, one of the hardest hitting characters in the entire show. I mean, she was beating the piss out of Thanos in Endgame. For good
1v1. 1v1.
The only way he won that little fight was he remembered Power Stone.
A sneaky good pick by you with Captain Marvel as the middle of that defense, because not only can she pack a punch, she's got range. She can cover the middle of the field. Great pick. So I went, and here's where my biggest where my shocker of a pick comes in. Did not pick quarterback here.
This was weird.
Went with running back. Went with the Scarlet Witch. And
I can't wait for this explanation. I need to hear it.
And here's why. So you went with Quicksilver. Very fast running back. I don't necessarily need to have speed. I mean, Scarlet Witch can fly pretty quickly. But when you can control the minds of every single defender out there, you don't need to be lightning fast. You can just control them all to just stand there as she basically takes the ball and walks 100 yards into the end zone. No defense against that. As we've seen in the last cut in WandaVision and in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Scarlet Witch is one of the most powerful characters in the MCU.
She is
as
indeed.
well.
Yep, it was an interesting pick, and I like the explanation. I have no magic on my team to defend against such. You went heavy on the magic, which is nice and tricky. Magic, tricky.
Slaps knee.
I went with Ant-Man at wide receiver. I mean, first of all, where is the guy? And then all of a sudden, he's 25 feet tall. So can be giant, can be tiny, can't see him. Very fast, can fly around on insects, and then just poof, giant anytime he wants. So I thought it was a fun pick, and I love Paul Rudd. So, you know.
Paul, you gotta love Paul Rudd. It was a very interesting pick. I did not see Ant-Man being a wide receiver, but hey, if you can make it work, I'll trust you. So here it is, the final,
a good alternate position for him.
The final pick in our draft, and I'm going with Sam Wilson, Falcon, Captain America as my quarterback. Now, here's a guy that he started out wasn't a highly recruited Avenger, a guy that was just kind of brought on as a
just
sidekick.
Found his way in there.
But the thing about Sam Wilson is that the guy is a workaholic. He just works, and he found his leadership skills over time, and he has become the leader of the Avengers. So you take a guy like that, a guy that the team can rally around. He's pretty damn good at throwing the football as well. So Sam Wilson is going to be the quarterback. The last pick of the round, just like how Lamar Jackson was the last pick, it turned into an MVP. Sam Wilson's going to turn into my MVP at quarterback.
All right, let's see some comments. Who wins in a football game between those two teams? I think that's one hell of a football game. I really enjoy the idea of that. I'm looking at my defense, though, Andrew, and I don't know who's keeping the Scarlet Witch from messing their mind up. I mean, Mr. Fantastic literally died. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen it, that's on you. He died in the last movie. Nobody watches this that's watching for the MCU. So, Winter Soldier would be good too. Metal Arm.
Winter Soldier. But yeah, I think my team's got the edge. I don't think you can penetrate Thanos. I've got magic at both linebacker and running back. My last line of defense is Iron Man. Sam Wilson throwing TDs to Peter Parker.
See, here's your problem. Here's your one problem, and I think this is an issue for your offense. Although he is Captain America now, he is not a super soldier. He does not have any. I guess he could use the momentum of his wings to throw the football, maybe, but just doesn't have the arm strength. I think that you need against a bunch of superheroes.
He doesn't have the arm strength, but he's got the mobility factor. I mean, he's got the wings. He's got the agility.
Sure.
Steve Rogers does not have the agility and the speed of the Falcon
when he's on foot.
But this is the MCU. You can't win everything on foot.
All right. Well, let us know what you guys think in the comments. Who won